There is nothing which is wrong with the country that a new government cannot fix. It is time for a new start, a fresh beginning, new direction, people-centered leadership. That's why Team Unity Dominica introduces the Clean Slate, a new political direction for the current political era. The Clean Slate, an idea built on new and progressive energies based on what is best for Dominica and Dominicans. The Clean Slate, the platform for a new and progressive political coalition. The Clean Slate, uniting the partisan colors with a message of renewal and hope.
Special evening to everyone. Special evening to you, Sister Petra. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Special evening to you as well. How are you doing? How is your week so far?
So I feel like today is Thursday already, but it's only Tuesday.
I know the feeling. Well, I hope you'll have a better end of week than the beginning.
Yeah, man, I'll be all right. I'll survive.
So,
Just going through the grinds of the tough week, but I'll be all right.
okay, that's part of life. That's part of life. So where are we tonight?
Tonight we
What
are
are we
supposed
sharing for lovely
we're talking about TUD's foreign policy position on the key global players. So we're talking the USA, we're talking China, we're talking Russia, and but for tonight our focus should be on China, or a country which we have diplomatic relations with for the better the part of 2 decades, and we have seen positive impact on the relationship with of our brothers over there in this island, on this country, I should say. And the leadership of China has been very favorable to Dominica. They have been working with us. We have a lot of our citizens have seen education there. They have provided us with a lot of infrastructural projects and so on and so forth. And the list goes on. We have a policy that we should be presenting to our lovely audience, those who are here live, and those who will come. But before we even get to that, how are you doing, Petra? And how is the agricultural trade facilitation going on? For those of you who don't know, Petra is involved in facilitating trade from Dominica to the USVI and mainland USA with our agricultural products from Dominica to the mainland.
uh,
As you can as you can see here, this is one of the photos, which is the information which we are present for those who want to get in touch with Petra to find out what how they can work with her, and as well the pictures of some of the products arriving on the plane. So if you're looking at the video just right now, you can just pause it, take a note of the information, and get in touch with Petra, and she will give you all the information you need to know. But Petra, you're here now. Talk to us about that before we get into the meat of the matter for foreign relations.
yes, yes. Well, as you know, that's one of my main goal is to have our products, our agricultural products, in the U.S. Virgin Islands and in the U.S. as well. And so it's a little struggle to get some of the products at some point. For now, Dominica is low on seasoning peppers and cucumbers. We're hoping by next month that we can see an increase. that we can supply our suppliers with again. And I'm still working with trying to get our products to the US mainland. I have the permits. I am working with some supermarkets to see. Our prices are a bit higher than where they get their stuff, but we are still working to see what we can do. One of the areas that's really affecting us is transportation. As you're quite aware that American that used to come down to Melvin Hall some time back has stopped, and so all trade has to do through tropical or at the other continent that does the same thing as tropical, and the produce take a week to get there. And we're trying to see how we can get the produce a little quicker
Okay.
too, because go and take a little time, like dashing and yams, things like seasoning peppers and bell peppers, and so cannot take that same length of time to get there. So we're still trying to work with American to see what they can do for us. So it's a long discussion, but hopefully all is well and our produce can enter the Florida and we can have our own shop where Dominicans can order their stuff while it's in Florida, and we can let everybody enjoy that good food that we have in Dominica.
So
That is
hopefully
hard
you
work.
can. Do you see? Do you see the possibility in the future where someone in New Jersey can order Dominican produce on Amazon and get it delivered to their home, or Whole Foods? Are you there, Petra?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there. The internet is shaky tonight, but I'm there.
Okay. Yeah, I was asking you, do you see the possibility of the Dominican produce being available on Amazon for someone, say for example in New Jersey, to be able to order and get the stuff delivered to their home?
And New York.
Okay, okay. You're breaking
Yes,
up a bit.
yes. So we're working on that. That's why we want to incorporate the Dominicans living abroad. Yeah, we also
Okay.
want to incorporate Dominicans living abroad. I don't know. This internet is just giving trouble tonight. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you fine. But before we go get too distracted by talking about agricultural business, which is important, by the way, we need to get down into the meat of the matter. Let's talk about the TUD's policy on China. We have a presentation that I would like to have us put on the screen, and I will read it, and then afterwards we will talk about it. You guys who are joining us live, thank you for joining us. Another Community Clean Slate program. This is our mandate for changing Dominica from what it is right now to what we know it can be.
Yep.
TUD's China policy. A Community Dominica TUD's government will honor Dominica's existing policy and or agreement with the People's Republic of China, the PRC, providing that it caters to the best bilateral interests for both countries, the People's Republic of China and the Commonwealth of Dominica. If upon review that the basis of Dominica's current policy on diplomatic agreement between the People's Republic of China supports TUD's vision for advancing Dominica on the global stage by promoting prosperity of all people through the maintenance of healthy national institutions, including safeguarding the sanctity of Dominica's elections, the procurement of small businesses, the prioritization and protection of agriculture, agribusiness as the foundation of Dominica's economy, respect of each other's sovereignty and the rule of law, And if the current Republic of China and Commonwealth of Dominica bilateral agreement upholds Dominica's democratic principles, Christian God-fearing principles or traditions, and social cultural norms, a TUD government will wholly embrace the agreement. We believe that the PRC is a significant player in global affairs, and the Commonwealth of Dominica considers it a privilege to unambiguously identify with the Republic of China's economic vision and ideas for prosperity and ideas and initiatives geared to achieving and maintaining global influence. TUD recognizes the People Republic of China's official policy of peaceful development and peaceful coexistence as the precursor to resolving international disputes. We identify with the PRC's advocacy for dialogue and cooperation while simultaneously developing and maintaining a strong military presence that defines the country's policy of peace with strength. The PRC principles of peaceful coexistence, a response to the world's prevailing trend of peace, development, cooperation, and win-win, and new prospects for peace and progress, peacekeeping which trends towards multipolarity and economic globalization, and one that inspires new ways to achieve development and security. There is the respectful promotion, protection, and upholding of the principle of sovereign equality. The PRC and Dominicans will agree in creating a global foundation based on mutual respect, which turns true peace with security into reality, uniting all forces for prosperity, committing to fairness and justice, and embracing an open and inclusive mindset, creating conditions for current and future international relations and international rule of law. And the Commonwealth of Dominica, through the government led by Team Unity Dominica, would be standing willing to be part of this conversation. TUD believes that the PRC can and will be an asset of global interaction, and we join forces with the PRC and the sovereign states to promote peaceful coexistence in a world which is inhibiting increasing signs of intolerance, intimidation, and ideological intolerance. A Dominica government under TUD stewardship will align with the axis of peace for a future of prosperity for all. Petra, I see we have a guest, and it's been a while. He hasn't been on our program. I suspect he has been hiding from us. Although this is perfect that he's joining us at this time when we're talking about global affairs. A special good evening to you, Professor Alex Bruno, our General Secretary of our movement. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I was trying to look fancy like you guys, but I do not know how to do it. So I will be the standout character on the program tonight. It is nice to be here. Looking forward to engaging. I have been listening from the start, and you brought me in now. So I'm here willing to be used in any way, shape, or form.
Yes, so I just presented our policy on China, and I know you would have read it,
Yes.
gone through it. Probably you would want to take the first bite at it. I
Sure.
already have some ideas, but I would allow you to do so.
Okay. Well,
Yes, because you're more versed on that. So we will start, we'll follow.
okay. Well, thanks again for the opportunity, and I'm happy to be here. And it's important in the context of the politics of our country at this time and of the world that the team felt it best to present a policy on China. China as the first nation that you decide to, or we decide to present an idea about. And here we can play our little domestic politics, which is what politics is always domestic, but we must always think of the broader picture. If you're going to sell a package to the people, whom you expect to serve in government, you have to give them a general idea as to how you understand geopolitics. And it doesn't get much bigger than China, America, Russia when you talk about geopolitical affairs of the world. And I'm so particularly pleased that this white paper, this draft idea of a policy was presented. And we're looking forward to engaging the PRC, People's Republic of China, the Communist Party of China. We're looking forward to engaging the US Embassy, State Department. We're looking forward to engage people from the Russian Republic about what we think as a movement, as a party, and hopefully as a government in waiting, we would like to see the world as, and how we would want to participate in the geopolitical affairs of the world moving forward. Because we may be small as a country, but you never know. One thing could change that image of Dominica. I mean, if we discover oil outside of Massac there, that's it. Dominica is now an ultimate country. Our amalgamation with nations in the world as well, if America with China, is going to determine where we stand in the world as well. Although we might be a small unit in the Caribbean, but we are massive because we are a sovereign state. So I'm happy to be part of the discussion that speaks about a broader political issue other than just the domestic rigmarole little pun that we play sometimes in Dominica. Let's look at the broad picture. Let's sell that to the outside world and to Dominicans, and then let's tell Dominica what we will do when we get into office in terms of position in our country. So the China policy is important. And I think if I remember the gist of what I read, and I will have to be for transparency so that I contributed to kind of guiding the direction of the policy as well. So I always like to be honest about those things. The policy is saying that whatever is in place between China and Dominica is essential to what we do now and how we move forward. And if the policy, the bilateral agreement between our both nations is something that supports our vision, we support it. So we're not going to deviate from what we have in place with China if that already supports our idea, our vision, which includes elections, which are out of the grasp of foreign hands, our religious and democratic freedoms, which we have adopted as a social practice in Dominica. We are not against necessarily China and the way in which their politics goes, which is basically based on socialist communism model, because the Communist Party of China controls the government of China. We have no issues with China to say what you should do in your sovereign state, and we don't expect them to try to influence what we do in our sovereign state. We don't judge what nations do. We create relationships with nations which is mutually respectful. So we are saying, if you respect this autonomy and sovereignty of our elections, if you respect our freedoms, our democratic freedoms, and our religious Christian-based belief, if you respect that, if you understand that we are a sovereign state and we have the rights to so be, and everything else that we mentioned in the piece, we are willing to be part of that. And we hope that's what the government of Dominica already has in place in terms of a bilateral arrangement, kind of policy in terms of dealing with China moving forward. We also say that as long as China understands that our role in this space is to try to promote our economy based on agribusiness, agriculture. We are an agricultural country. Yes, we can do other things, but the base of what we do should be agriculture. Respect our ability in terms of to own and maintain ownership of our resources, maintain the integrity of our institutions. As long as the China policy that we have in place now respects that, we are in, and we are not going to deviate from that policy. What we will do, we will enhance it to do more things that benefit Dominicans mutually, respectfully. So in essence, I like what I read, and I'm happy that we are presenting it as the first party to present a policy publicly on a major geopolitical player. And I'm happy that we started with China. And I'm hoping, as I said, that the people from the PRC who are certainly listening will find the need to probably have further conversations. If there are certain things we misrepresented, probably we can be guided by this, because we want to be a friend to every nation. We don't think just China alone should be. We think America, China, Canada, England, and the other countries in Europe, we should have relationships with all countries. But we think China is quite important, and that's why we decided to present our kind of a blueprint or policy position on that Dominica-China relationship moving forward. We have no issues if things that are already done on our behalf are done with these things in mind, and we will fully embrace it. If it's not, when we get there, we'll review it. We will talk to the Chinese again and say, look, we want to be your friend, but here's how we are proposing to be your friend. Can we do this? Can we do this instead? Because in politics, it's negotiations. You don't demand what people do in politics. You say, look, let's work it out in the interest of our country, not our party, in the interest of our country. So yes, we'll have a relationship with the government of China and by extension, the Communist Party of China, because that's what run the government. In Dominica, we don't have a party government. We have a government of the people. So we won't seek to have a relationship with our party and the Communist Party. We seek to have a relationship with the government of the PRC and the Commonwealth of Dominica. Yes, we understand the technicality in terms of the party in China. That's not the case in Dominica. We're not a communist state. We're a democratic state where parties do not own government. Parties form government. They run the government on behalf of the people, which is different from Dominica and China. With all respects to what China does, and China should also respect what we do. As long as that is the case, our China policy can be similar to what is in place right now, if that is what's actually in place right now. So that is, in a nutshell, my kind of overall take on the policy, and we're looking forward to discuss it with the local authorities, the Chinese authorities, and any other authority in the globe.
And you said it. You said it a long way, that longer than what I would have said. You gave a very concise view of it. I would break it down simply to say that whatever that is in place, as long as it aligns with our vision for Dominica and our interaction with our global partners, we will support it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
So,
pretty much what the document is saying. Mhm.
okay, so I will be the one asking questions because the general public is there, and the one of the concerns the general public have now with the is the MOUs. So what happened? How would TUD deal with the existing MOUs that are there if they are not in line with what the TUD government would have prescribed to?
So what Alex mentioned, that if it's not in agreement with what we believe, we simply meet at the table with them and talk to them. We meet and talk. It's negotiation. We wouldn't demand or say or come off as being offensive, but you talk and you let people know, you let the Syrians know what would work best for our country, aligning with our views. Did I say correctly, Mr. Bruno?
No, you're right. You're right, because we know what Dominicans think. We know what Dominicans want. Dominicans like transparency. So certainly the MOUs that have been established, we will look at it as a responsible party in government. We will see how much we can declassify it and probably make it available to the public so the public knows. Because if you're going to sign a document on behalf of the people, it shouldn't be a document that the people do not know. So the MOUs would have to be declassified if we think the need to do that, or we have to sanitize them, create an MOU that can be declassified. If there are things in the MOU that if we declassify it could become a nation secret, we will look at it and say, okay, you see that there, we have to fix that, take that out. Because we can't show our people that. That's not what we want our people to sign on to. Let's create a clean bill that is going to go public, that the Dominicans can know exactly what we have signed them up to. So I have heard of MOU with China. I have not yet read it. I mean, I've seen aspects of the MOU, concepts of it, but have I really seen a true MOU that explains to us in terms of the original intent and what is written about? No. I mean, and I don't believe that I saw it. But what we will do, we will look at it and we'll be responsible we'll say, okay, guys, that's not what we're working with. If the public is not going to see that, we should fix that. And let's show them what they should see and what we're working with. Because we're working for the people, not for the party. For the people. So yes, we will modify it and we will advance. We will add things to the MOU that benefits the people, our progress, our prosperity. Because China in the 1970s was not as bountiful as they are today. It didn't take China long, maybe 40 years, less than 50 years, for them to get to be the second
Where they
economy in the
are.
world.
That's
Right?
true.
That can be our story too. We may never live to see it, but in 40, 50 years from now, Dominica could be like the China of the Caribbean. And it's a good thing to work with China. It's a good model to follow. And that is our focus. Not for now, not to make some quick money in government, but to present opportunities for the next generations of Dominica so that they will say, well, I remember in 2024, Dominica was not doing as well economically. Look now, in 2054, we are like the envy of the Caribbean. And that is what we are about, to give our future generations hope and to tell those people who are here today, let's leave something as our legacy for our future generations. Because the Chinese are very, very savvy when it comes to global projections. They do not
Yeah.
plan for today or this election, they plan for the next 50 years.
15
And
to
that's
20 years. That's how they plan.
And that's what we have to learn from the Chinese. We will be a great friend to China, probably a better friend to them than the present situation. I do not know. But we plan to be a very good friend to China. And when we speak about America and Russia and the other countries, we will speak about our relationships or what we plan to do with them as well. But for sure, we're looking forward to speaking with our Chinese counterpart and as we prepare to be part of the Dominican government, if it is the will of the Almighty that we get the good honor to serve as our country's government. So that's my answer to the question, Petra.
Okay. Uh, Another question we know most Dominican ask, and we want you to be able to explain to the general public is what, as we spoke about agriculture, we spoke that this will be our main focus, and we know that China is very advanced in that sector, agriculture, by using the technology to develop and further the growth of agriculture. So, what would be TUD main focus in partnership with China when it comes to agriculture? What sector of agriculture would be looking at to push as soon as we get TUD get into office?
The broad sector. Certainly, our position with China would not be aid, it would be trade. Right now, we are mainly focused on aid. If you look at everything that we have been doing with China, is aid, 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 money, loan, aid. What we will do, we'll promote trade. And we will talk to our friends. We'll say, okay, we may not be able to ship everything to you every time, but you have counterparts in the Caribbean. Help us to establish markets, for instance, to get stuff to Jamaica, because China has a great interest in Jamaica, for sure. Enough of us, and other countries as well. So let's talk about how you can be a liaison between us and Jamaica, so we can export things that will benefit the Jamaicans at a rate probably better than they can get anywhere else. So you, China, help us to facilitate that. When it comes to water, Jamaica has a lot of that, but we can also produce water, spring water in Dominica, which is different from any other water. So for sure, water in all the varieties, not just to Jamaica, but other countries in the Caribbean and CARICOM, because we are part of CARICOM, but we're not taking advantage of that. So our strategic global partner will ask them to assist us with logistics. Not that they're doing road and beltway, help us with that to get stuff in terms of shipping logistics, distribution logistics, even the pipeline that we're talking about to water, to traffic water straight from Dominica to Antigua. Talk to our friends in China and say, what can we do? Can you help us with the infrastructure to pipe a line straight from our country to Antigua to feed Antigua water 24/7 at a very, very minimal rate? So that's what we will do with China. Have them help us to develop infrastructure for trade. We'll also want to ship our produced material, our essential oils and so on to China as well. We will work with them in terms of training of our human resource, military, healthcare. They build in hospital here, but help us to develop the human resource in terms of the management of the resources that they have given us. So China can help in many different ways, but our major focus would be on trade instead of aid. We will balance it up, maybe 80% trade, 20% aid, because when you have a country feeding you with aid, grant, at the end of the day, the country is going to say, well, hey, let's talk, which is what they are doing now in Jamaica and other places. Unfortunately, or fortunately for them, we don't want that to be a Dominican story. We want to have respectful exchanges, or we make foreign exchange from China as they make foreign exchange from other places. That's what build a country, foreign exchange. So trade will be it: water, agribusiness, farm, husbandry, fishing, exportation, helping us with trawlers, to purchase trawlers for ship, so people can go out there for a whole week fishing before they come back in. Things like that we want to work with, this kind of partnership. And we will cut back a lot on the idea of the aid that we hear going about all the time. I mean, even right now, I think it is being said that the Chinese are the ones who are building the airport, or our airport. The Chinese building this, they building that. Too much of the Chinese involvement in the aid. We want to get involved in more trade. And there are a lot of things we can trade with China, a lot of products and commodities, goods and services. We can even trade human resource with China as well. Why can't we have 100 police officers go to China and spend a year up there? Nothing wrong in that. That is trading, because we get in the expertise, we get in training, they benefiting from the people being up there as well. But our resources are going to come back to us to help us manage our peace and our safety. Diplomacy, China is very big on diplomacy. So we are going to work with that as well. Culture, theater, sports. Why can't we have some athletes go train in China in terms of the dive and the other things that they do? Javelin. So this is what we will do. Open opportunities for more Dominicans to take advantage of the benefits. That aid thing is just not the only way to go. Probably not even the smartest way to go when countries are trying to get involved in relationships. So that's just a little snippet of some of the things that we'll try to do with our friends in China to broaden our communication, broaden our relationship, not just on the aid, but trade, relationship, partnership in many different areas and many different fronts. But agriculture would be number one.
Okay. You muted, Carlos.
I was asking if you have any more questions from the general public. I know
Yes,
you,
I have. I have one more question regarding that. On one of the programs previously in 2024, we were speaking about health. And one of the discussions that we had briefly was working with China to supply us with equipments for our health sectors. So would that be one of TUD's focus as soon as they come into office, to develop our health sectors and create that relationship with China to get more of the equipment that can be better serve our people, so they don't have to go overseas for simple operations and so forth?
But of course, we have spoken about that in terms of our training and our caucuses when we discuss. And China will be happy to assist. I do not know what's in the relationship in the MOU, but they will be happy. The more you give, the more you get. Look, we, as a strategic partner in the Caribbean, are giving a lot to the PRC. And that's all we need to do is to put in place this sort of high-tech tools that we need in our hospital, so we can serve the needs of our people, as you said, instead of them having to go overseas. I mean, as is the case in anything else, you have to give and take. And any good relationship comes with that. You give a little, you take a little. But what we have actually been doing with China, based on what I've observed, is basically receiving aid.
No.
And getting loans and those things. This is nice as well, but we can do so much more. And you spoke about it. One of the things we will do as well is to create a gerontology department at the hospital. And that is a department that deals with people who are ailing and elderly, the elderly Dominicans. We think like there's a nursery for younger babies, we should have a special department for people who are older,
Older
because people
people.
who are older need this particular type of treatment. You
Yeah.
cannot put them and should not put them in the same ward as average as the ordinary person. So we will create a gerontology ward, and probably that's where China could come in as well and assist us with staff in the ward, training our staff for the ward, and assisting with the procuring the stuff that we need to maintain and to lengthen the life of our Dominicans who live already a long life already. So people, I mean, in the 90s, somebody who's 102, we shouldn't lose them because of a basic disease or something. We should try and keep them
Sympathy.
as long as possible.
Mhm.
That's the wealth and the resource of our country. So that's one of
Yeah.
the things we want to talk to our Chinese friends about: the establishment of a gerontology ward, and the training and the assets we need for that ward to assist our people.
Yeah, because our persons who are older than us would have lived a very long and hard working life in Dominica, and they would have contributed to our development. We want to make sure that we do as much for them as they have done for the country.
For us to
Um,
bring us where we are. That's right.
Yeah,
yeah,
and not just the centenarians, and and not just the centenarians or people who are advanced in age. People in their 70s, everybody from 70 and above will be someone that should be considered for that special treatment. Because I mean, I'm seeing people dying at 75, 76. I mean, my mom is 78 and my mom is doing so well. I don't want to lose my mom now, you know. I mean, nobody wants to lose their mom
I
in any
know.
case. But I mean, when somebody is in that age group, they're now starting to really their worth. Because mommy tells me things that I never imagined, and the way she says it. So we kind of want to strengthen and lengthen the life of people when they're at this very delicate stage of their lives. And a gerontology ward would do just that. We are very, very concerned about the health of our elderly Dominicans. And if there's anybody who's an elderly Dominican or who is a child of an elderly Dominican, our team is very passionate about caring for people who have served, retired. What is retirement? It's something that they do after they finish working for a while. But someone who's retired should enjoy a quality of life that goes beyond. Enjoy 20, 30 years of retirement. In many cases, I don't think people enjoy so many years after they retire. Our party, our team, our government would want to lengthen people's post retirement experience. And that's one of the things we would do. Make sure that the nutrition is good. Yes, the government of Dominica now is already doing something, I think, in terms of people 70 and above, there's some kind of compensation. That's good. It's a good start. But we would build on that. That would be a stepping stone to build on other things, which would not be based on a partisan thing, and it would be legislated. We would make a law. I don't think there's any law now that establishes that as a guarantee. But we would pass a law in Parliament guaranteeing it as a policy moving forward for every Dominican, pink, blue, red, yellow, workers, labor power, whoever will benefit from that in terms of a stated law gazetted by the government of Dominica, passed through our parliament, where every citizen who is above 70 will get gerontology care free of charge on the nation, and also special treatment in the hospital and other public places. We'll ask the banks to extend special services, and every public place that our seniors go, they will be respected as people who have put in the time. Yes, the National Bank and other banks are doing something, but we will make it a policy of our government so that every public place allows the people who have lived the life to enjoy the benefit of the life that they have lived and the service to our country.
Any questions, Carlos? So for discussion, or you want me to ask another question?
no, I'm fine with our. To me, it was pretty straightforward, and I believe we can have a very fruitful discussion with our brothers and, well, of course, sisters from the PRC. And tonight being the first discussion that we're putting up with respect to our foreign policy positions, I think that's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. And of course, I look forward to the time when we have to sit and engage the wonderful folks of the PRC and introduce them to TUD and tell them about our vision and possibly how we can work together in the future on the TUD government representing Dominica.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is a thing that the party would do, and the government would do, the PRC would do, as long as you.
Another great strength of China, if you may read, is the we see if we look at
Go ahead, go ahead.
Petra, are you there? Or your internet messing around again? Okay, Alex, I suspect.
one of the other questions I would want to ask is the China policies and so. How would you think about having that policy with China to have training for teachers? As we could see with China, in China, they teach their children so young trade. And we realize the Chinese are very skillful at a very young age. So how would the TUD government use that asset to incorporate it in our culture to help our young people to be more skillful?
Yeah, well, education is a culture, a cultural thing. It's part of the Chinese culture. Education, higher education, is part of their way of life. The Chinese citizens are not necessarily smarter or brighter than any other citizen, but because of the emphasis the government places on education as part of the evolving culture of China, the Chinese go all out. So we will not necessarily need them to tell us how to do it, but we would reform our entire education department, which is pretty much based on punitive measures. Just I wanted to say something else, but I won't. And what I mean by that is that I, as a child at school, was punished and beaten when I got something wrong. And it's like the way the system worked, you are almost shamed if you do not do well. So we want to talk to our friends in China to see how they are able to motivate their people and probably learn from their ways because they are a much more advanced nation, long older nation than our nation, to see how we can inspire our people, first of all, to do very well when it comes to math. It would be nice if Dominica is the leading country in the world when it comes to mathematics. I think the Chinese can help us with that. So to augment and change our education system, our sisters and brothers in China, we kind of will go to them for kind of a guideline, because what we pretty much have now is an education department that is patterned after what we inherited from England. Yes, we have done some, changes here, there, and everywhere, but the base of our education is still very much that, and it's based on punitive means. I used to be told when I did something wrong to go and read your book, go and study your book. And to me, I start seeing education now as, okay, if I do wrong, I have to go to do my books. It should not be that. It should be, do good, do your books, lovingly, all the time. And that's what I think the Chinese do. They're very adamant about that. And every Chinese know that the way out is to, well, not every, but the majority knows the way out is to focus on this, because that's education is a key that opens up doors. And I think that's the Chinese model. I think that's their model, and it's not a bad model to follow. To kind of a mix with what we have already. Because we have good teachers, we have very dedicated teachers. I think the system does not embrace and represent our teachers, and the teachers too who teach our students as well. They should be treated better too, with insurance, healthcare, and provisions, and greater salaries, the ability to be able to get money no matter how much money they make as a teacher. They should be able to have a loan to build a house, to get a car,
Yeah.
afford the transportation to their home. Things like that. We will talk to our Chinese friends to see how we can assist the fire people, the police, the teachers, etc. People in healthcare, because we have to take care of these people because they take care of us. I don't think we do that too very well in Dominica. There should be no teacher, no matter how much money he or she makes, who should not be able to go to any of the financial institutions to get money to build a house and to buy a car. So we
So,
will make that right by talking to our friends and sisters on that.
Alex, I'm not sure if you're paying attention to global affairs, but I take note that our brothers in China has made some breakthrough in the world of artificial intelligence, and they are now leading
Yeah,
globally in the field of artificial intelligence. And
Yeah.
when I mention that, what comes to mind is our young people who are involved in the field of robotics, and that
Yeah.
robotics and artificial intelligence go hand in hand. So probably what with our developing relationship with the PRC, we could leverage that into assisting our young people to better themselves in that field, because I believe they have a lot to offer. They have a lot to offer, and that in and by itself be a very good long-term developmental goal for Dominica. That 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 with the ideas that our young people have, our country can
yeah,
develop in leaps and bounds. And with the friendship that we have
that's
with
true. I mean, we have not really developed that in quite great detail because that is still evolving. The AI thing is still evolving, and certainly China is the leader, and America has accepted that. And I'm hearing now in the government of America, people are saying that we're going to try to regain our position as AI leaders. So that is a fact that China has gone clear. But we will not just really stop at AI. We will mix storytelling, social media influencing with AI and create an industry in Dominica. People like, I don't want to call anybody's name here for political reasons, but I can see a number of Dominican social influencers who will be part of the new industry, so to speak, by again speaking for our friends from China. These are the kind of things we're looking for people to benefit, not for the party or for government officials, for our people. So we will kind of create not really a department, but an industry where AI, social media, influencing, storytelling, even music becomes something that people exploit, thanks to our brothers and sisters from the PRs. So, yeah, we have not really discussed it, but that's something that we'll be very willing to do because it's going to benefit people, especially young people on our country.
Sure, anything else? I see we're coming close to the 9 o'clock hour. Um, we don't want to keep our audience for too long, and the activity we try to keep things down, in, out, say what you have to say, do what you have to do. It shouldn't take more longer than an hour.
Yeah.
Petra, you there?
Yes,
Uh,
I know. You can hear me, right?
oh, I'm hearing you now.
Yes.
I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
You seem to be the
Yeah.
internet.
So I, this is some lovely. Yeah, my internet is acting up tonight, but this is some lovely conversation. I believe the Dominican public will benefit from the policies that we were looking into if when we get into government with China, to ensure, as Alex said, that not the party benefits, but the people of the country benefits from the policies that we put in place in relations to China. And one of the things that we said is that TUD believes that the PRC can and will be an asset of global interaction, and we're joining forces with the PRC and other sovereign states to promote peaceful coexistence in the world, which is inhabiting increasing signs of tolerance and so forth and so on. So this is where we are going as a party into that policy. We just want to ensure that we use the resources at hand that the China government want to offer to us and use it to market ourselves on the open market, to ensure for growth and development of our country and better relations with other people as well. So I want to thank you, Professor Bruno, for your political mind, and
Yeah, man.
we happy that you are on our side, and we know that when it comes to politics, that's your strength, and we love that you are here with us to enlighten and to give the people the knowledge that you have about the policies, political relations, and how we can better use the Chinese to enhance ourselves. So thank you again for coming on board with us tonight.
Yeah, man, it's my pleasure, and I am very proud to be aligned with such a progressive movement, to be part and parcel of it. Generally, people like me are not necessarily aligned, but I chose to be aligned and exposed politically, because why wouldn't I be so exposed at a time like this in the history of our country, where we have a very prolonged established incumbency that is threatening to continue to be the incumbent government, with the alternative not seemingly working progressively enough to bring the idea together to step up the antics, not necessarily angrily, but in a way that we are doing now, to seek to engage, to replace the governing team that's in office right now. So I could not sit idly by and say, I'm going to be politically correct and I'm going to keep my profession out of the politics because it's the wisest thing to do. Sometimes in life, you must make a sacrifice. And if it is that I'm making a sacrifice for the future of my country, so be it. I could not sit idly by and watch the same old continue on both sides, alternative and governing team, and not say something about it. So I think TUD has the right idea. I think speaking about geopolitical matters right now, trying to seek relationships with China, even before the party gets into office, is brilliant. I think the team should continue to do that while the team builds its base and also programs and get ready to get into government. You cannot wait into government to do the governance or to start talking about what you're going to be doing. And that is the mistake I think some people have made in the politics of our country. So I'm happy. Guys, call me anytime. I'm not shy or ashamed to come on here and identify and to speak the truth in terms of what I think is happening and what I think should happen. We are trying to build a broader winning coalition, and I think by God's grace, that coalition will be built in time to replace the present government with no ambiguity, no animosity. It is just that after a while, in a democracy, it is better if you change as often as possible. And it's almost quarter century. It's time that a new group of people with new ideas get into the office. And Petra, I would like to see you, Carlos, and the other members of the team as part of the Dominican government moving forward, either as a party or as a part of a coalition. Whatever the case might be, I think our idea is necessary and needed for these times in Dominica. That is why I'm available to you anytime, to be here public or private, to develop a plan that would see Dominica progress better in the future. So thank you again.
I need not say anything more to add to this, more than to thank our viewers and listeners who have been tuned into our program and continue to engage us publicly and privately. Thank you for checking out Team Unity's roundtable discussion, the clean slate. And we look forward to even more engagements with you guys, as we seek to present the Team Unity Dominica view and the team to move Dominica to the place where we ought to be for us and our future and our children's future. Thank you, everybody, for coming on, and see you next Tuesday for another Team Unity clean slate. Thank you very much, Mr. Bruno.
Thank you, and good night.
There is nothing which is wrong with the country that a new government cannot fix. It is time for a new start, a fresh beginning, new direction, people-centered leadership. That's why Team Unity Dominica introduces the Clean Slate, a new political direction for the current political era. The Clean Slate, an idea built on new and progressive energies based on what is best for Dominica and Dominicans. The Clean Slate, the platform for a new and progressive political coalition. The Clean Slate, uniting the partisan colors with a message of renewal and hope.